Very good morning, one and all. I welcome all the panelists and attendees to this online webinar faculty development program, 7 days program organized by Swarnim Gujarat Sports University. We heartily welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Dr. Arjun C. Nana, Sir, who has joined the webinar. It has been a great pleasure, honor, and inspiration to have a Vice Chancellor who is keen, spot on, and dedicated to each leaf of the university. What evidence more a university needs that in online faculty development program, inevitable presence of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Dr. Arjun C. Nana, Sir. Sir, on behalf of the university, on behalf of the entire team of this faculty development program, we welcome you on this floor of the ICT where we have joined together for a knowledge sharing session. I request our Assistant Professor of Department of Advanced Training and Coaching, Shri Ravindra Singh Rajpurohit sir, to please introduce our today's expert, Dr. Hiren Rawal sir. I request Ravindra Singh Rajpurohit sir to please introduce today's first speaker, Dr. Hiren Rawal. With this note, I wanted to make all the attendees aware that today we have two sessions. The first session would be from Dr. Hiren Rawal sir, and second would be from Dr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma sir. I request Ravindra Singh Rajpurohit sir to please do the honors and introduce our first expert, Hiren R. Rawal sir, to all the attendees and panelists. Ravindra sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sir. Thank you very much. Namaskar, respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Arjun Nana sir, panelist member, and all the participants. A very good afternoon to one and all. On the behalf of Swarnim Gujarat Sports University and on my personal behalf, I would like to welcome our today's expert, Dr. Hiren Rawal sir, in 7 days faculty development program, which is on role of applied sciences, the development of physical education profession. Sir have a huge experience of 15 years in the field of education. Rawal sir present and publish so many research papers at national and international level. Currently, so working with Sadhguru Sri Ranchod Das Ji Bapu Home Science College and late M.J. Kundalia Mahila Commerce College, Rajkot. Sir also associate with renowned organization and institution as a resource person. And today, one more feather will be added as a resource person of Swarnim Gujarat Sports University. This is highly appreciable. Sir, it's our privilege to have you in today's session of FDP. Once again, I welcome you, sir, and I'm very pretty sure that definitely your session will bring positive changes in our learning. Now I request to you, sir, please take over the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ravindra sir, for introducing. Good morning, all. I think I am audible to all of you. Okay. I thank you, Dr. Rana sir, Swarnim Gujarat Sports University, for giving an opportunity to interact with the people related to sports fraternity. My topic for today, that is sports and economics. Let me start with a story for this session, for this interaction. आपने सुनी होगी लॉकडाउन के वक्त में एक पापा वर्क फ्रॉम होम में व्यस्त थे और कुछ ऐसा हुआ कि उसके बच्चे ने खेलने की जिद की कि पापा आप मेरे साथ खेलो। पापा तो बिजी थे तो खेल नहीं पा सकते थे, इसलिए उन्होंने एक तरकीब सोची। उसके सामने इंडिया का मैप रखा हुआ था, तो पापा ने क्या किया, इंडिया का मैप जो था उसे काट दिया और बच्चे को दे दिया कि आप इंडिया का पूरा मैप बना के ले आओ टुकड़े टुकड़े कर दिया था, ये जोड़ के ले आओ फिर हम खेलेंगे। पापा तो सोचते थे कि पूरा व्यस्त हो जाएगा और उसी दौरान मैं अपना काम पूरा कर लूंगा। हुआ यूं कि सिर्फ 5 ही मिनट में वो बच्चा वापस आ गया और उसने देखा कि पूरा मैप जैसे कि टेस्ट से परफेक्टली ऑर्गेनाइज बच्चे ने कर दिया था। उसको भी आश्चर्य, पापा को भी आश्चर्य हुआ। वॉज वेरी सरप्राइज कि इतने कम वक्त में ये कैसे हो गया। फिर उसने बच्चे से पूछा कि आपने ये कैसे किया। तो बच्चे ने बताया कि मुझे इंडिया के बारे में तो पता नहीं था, मगर हुआ यूं कि जो इंडिया का मैप था उसके पीछे ह्यूमन बॉडी था। So I was familiar with different parts of human body. So I organized that different parts of human body and I just get to the map. पापा भी आश्चर्यचकित हो गए। ये कहानी मैंने इसलिए सुनाई क्योंकि एक वीक पहले जेठवा सर का फोन आया था कि स्पोर्ट्स यूनिवर्सिटी आपको इंटरेक्शन के लिए इनवाइट करता है। ये फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम है। तो मेरा कंफ्यूजन भी कुछ ऐसा ही उस बच्चे की तरह ही था कि स्पोर्ट्स से मैं ज्यादा परिचित नहीं था, मगर इकोनॉमिक्स से ज्यादा परिचित था। तो मैंने क्या किया कि इकोनॉमी को स्पोर्ट्स के साथ ज्वाइन कर दिया और आपके सामने जो इंटरेक्शन आज होगा वो डिफरेंट कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ इकोनॉमी इंटरेक्टिंग और रिलेटेड विद स्पोर्ट्स के साथ होगा। टुडे दैट इज वर्ल्ड एथलेटिक्स डे। एक्चुअली in 2009 May 7 was celebrated or announced as World Athletics Day. I think it is 5th May in 2020 that was our inaugural day. The basic objective of World Athletics Day, that is creating awareness regarding fitness, popularizing various sports and educating youngsters. So I wish you all World Athletics Day. Basically, when we play a game, either game offers a victory or it offers experience. At present, we are playing the same compulsory game, that is big game COVID-19, and it is compulsory game we are supposed to play. So let's see, it will offer victory, but we are going to pass through various experiences. As far as sports and economy is concerned, let me start with the interaction, the basic interaction, that when it comes to money, there always comes economics. Our expenditures are income for others and vice versa. So everything is interlinked to each other. Let me share a joke with you people regarding economics. एक रेस्टोरेंट के बाहर एक बोर्ड लगा हुआ था, आप यहाँ पर खाने नहीं आएंगे तो हम दोनों भूखे रह जाएंगे। बात भी सही है, क्योंकि your expenditures are going to be income for others, and when they are going to earn, obviously they are going to spend. So when we are talking about this pandemic, that is COVID-19, obviously it is going to affect us all. So let us discuss about the contribution of sports as far as economy is concerned. The contribution of sports industry in GDP, that is the what country is earning, that is national income. Globally, it is 5%. It means sports contributes 5% to the total income of world. If we consider India, then it is between 1 to 5%. So sports contributes, that is 1 to 5%. If a country is earning rupees 100, then sports contributes in between 1% to 5%. So योगदान तो योगदान होता है, योगदान बड़ा या छोटा नहीं होता, योगदान सिर्फ योगदान होता है. So sports is contributing around 1% to 5% to the total income of the country. If we think of total sports industry in the country, then what sports industry is getting from the total economy? It is $713 million in the year of 2015. It is expected to be $856 million in the year of 2020, and it may reach to $1,348 million. It is expected, and obviously COVID-19 may impact this statistic. As far as different components are concerned, sports tourism, sports goods, sports garments, sports event management and allied services, and sponsorship. all these components make the whole sports industry. So ये सब क्षेत्र जो है वो स्पोर्ट्स इंडस्ट्री को कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं और सब साथ मिलके जो टोटल कंट्रीब्यूशन है, टोटल टर्नओवर है, उसको 856 मिलियन यूएस डॉलर तक ले जा सकते हैं. इट इज एक्सपेक्टेड because obviously COVID-19 is going to impact the whole economy, and sports economy is also going to be affected by this sector, this situation. If we think of different countries like developed countries, that is US, UK, Germany, China, and Japan, Malaysia, and Singapore, you know, these all countries are getting handsome income. They are well developed, they are well prosperous. So obviously, they are having well organized sports industry, and basically they are major revenue churners. It means they are contributing very well to their economy. Sports industry of these all countries are contributing very well to total economy or the whole economy of the country. If we think of India, with growing corporate interest in different events, nowadays it is not loss-making affair. Sports is not loss-making affair in the present time in India, and growing up to 10% in the country. So it should be taken notice that sports can consider economy, and obviously we can have well-organized sports industry that can contribute to our country to earn handsome income. ये जो टेबल है वो ग्लोबल कंपैरिजन का है जो रेवेन्यू 2020 में मिल सकती है. ऑब्वियसली एक्सपेक्टेड कोविड-19 इम्पैक्ट इन नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर, बट यहाँ पर हम देख सकते हैं कि चाइना जो है उसकी जो रेवेन्यू है वो हाईएस्ट है, दैट इज 33,833 मिलियन यूएस डॉलर. तो चाइना टॉप इन रेवेन्यू ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स. If we think of US, it is around half of China, that is about 18,532. अगर हम इस डेवलप कंट्रीज की कंपैरिजन करें तो इंडिया के बारे में हम देख सकते हैं कि हमें सिर्फ 800, हमारी जो टोटल रेवेन्यू है वो सिर्फ 856 मिलियन यूएस डॉलर्स है. सो वी कैन हैव पोटेंशियल regarding sports industry that can contribute more towards the development of economy. अगर हम रिसर्च देखें तो रिसर्च कुछ ऐसा बताते हैं कि जो स्पोर्ट्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट है डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में ज्यादा है और डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में कम है. और हम ये भी देख सकते हैं कि जो टोटल वेटेज है स्पोर्ट्स का जो बजट है वो नेशनल बजट में से काफी कम रहता है डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में इफ वी कंपेयर टू डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज. इवन इफ वी थिंक ऑफ एजुकेशन सिस्टम, लिटिल पार्ट can be considered as a integral part of sports is integral part of education system as compared to developed countries. इसका रिजल्ट हम देख सकते हैं कि ओलंपिक में जो मेडल्स आते हैं उसमें हम अभी ग्रो कर रहे हैं. अगर हमारी पास की कंडीशन देखें तो चाइना यूएस जो मेडल्स लाती है उसके कंपैरिजन में यहाँ पर कम रहता है. ये बजट के कारण भी हो सकता है और ये एजुकेशन सिस्टम का इंटीग्रल पार्ट हमने शायद नहीं बनाया है और शायद कम वेटेज दिया है डेवलप कंट्रीज की कंपैरिजन में. तो हम ये भी बता सकते हैं और ये भी कह सकते हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू रिसर्च. एट प्रेजेंट हम जो अगर इंडिया की कंडीशन देखें तो वी आर ग्रोइंग टुवर्ड्स मल्टी स्पोर्ट्स कंट्री फ्रॉम अ सिंगल स्पोर्ट्स नेशन. हम देख सकते हैं कि वो भी वक्त था जब क्रिकेट ही ज्यादा फैमिलियर और क्रिकेट ही ज्यादा फेमस था इस कंट्री में, मगर साइना नेहवाल और अलग अलग जो एथलेट्स है उसके कारण अभी वी आर ग्रोइंग टू मल्टी स्पोर्ट्स कंट्री. द रीजन बिहाइंड मल्टी स्पोर्ट्स कंट्री दैट इज एवर ग्रोइंग मिडिल क्लास विद इंक्रीज डिस्पोजेबल इनकम एंड लेजियर टाइम. हम देख सकते हैं कि काफी कुछ मिडिल क्लास और हायर मिडिल क्लास जो फैमिलीज है वो अपने बच्चों को स्पोर्ट्स एकेडमी में भेजते हैं. ये इसलिए पॉसिबल होता है कि हमारे पास इतनी इनकम रहती है कि हम उनको नॉन कन्वेंशनल फील्ड में भेज सकते हैं. दूसरी ये भी बात है कि इंक्रीज अवेयरनेस एंड पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ यूथ. प्रेजेंटली हम ये भी देख सकते हैं कि यूथ को जो हम पास्ट में सिस्टमेटिक या कन्वेंशनल एम्प्लॉयमेंट में जाते हैं उसमें काफी रुचि कम है और वो कुछ अलग करना चाहते हैं, इसलिए भी स्पोर्ट्स में ज्यादा अवेयरनेस देखने को मिलती है. Third thing, that is rapid growth in TV owning. It means TV is reaching to basically many families in the present time. That was not the past scenario. And last one, that is strong passion of sports amongst youth. So ये जो चार रीजन है वो स्पोर्ट्स को मल्टी स्पोर्ट्स कंट्री में कन्वर्ट कर रहा है. If we think of sports industry in the present time, then it is expected to grow by 10% to 20% in following years. So it means the potential of sports industry to contribute for the development of economy is comparatively high. If we think of the present time, that is sports and games, these sports and games are more commercialized in the present time due to the interest of corporate culture, or corporates are more interested in these kinds of sports and games. Let me tell you about different leagues and different events taking place in India. That is IPL, Pro Kabaddi League, Hockey India League, Indian Badminton League, and ISL, that is Football League. If we think of international events that took place in India in the past, that is Hockey World Cup and Commonwealth Games in the year of 2010. In the year of 11, there was ICC Cricket World Cup. In 2016, South Asian Games took place. In 2017, FIFA Under 17 World Cup took place. In 2023, it is going to be Cricket World Cup. And we have also proposed Olympic in the year of 2032. Let me take a note that IPL, and Pro Kabaddi League and ISL have whooping rise in the past time. That is from earning from rupees 70 million to rupees 745 million. So these events are contributing very much in the present time of economy and having potential for youth for non-conventional source of employment. If we think of sports goods industry in India, reference to providing employment opportunities. Let us take some examples. That towels for Wimbledon Grand Slam are produced in Gujarat. It means it is providing employment to the people a sports industry is contributing, and they are generating employment. Footballs in international tournaments are produced in Jalandhar. If we think of UP Meerut, then cricket bats and balls and other equipments are produced in Meerut. Potential cities regarding sports goods industry and sports goods production, that is Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Agra, Jammu and Muradabad, again UP. Again, if we think of Meerut and Jalandhar, then these two cities occupy 75% to 80% production of sports goods according to SGMEA, that is Sports Goods Manufacturers and Exports Association. It means these two cities can provide more help to other cities in the production of this sports goods. Basically, these industries are labor-oriented production techniques. They are using labor-oriented production techniques. Obviously, this helps to generate local employment. So, as far as employment opportunities are concerned, these local industries are doing very well in providing skilled labor and unskilled labor employment to both these levels. As far as other employment opportunities are concerned, there are many sports academies. I think 5 National Academy Sports Indian Authority has approved 5 sports academies, and other private sports academies are there providing part-time or full-time employment opportunities to many young aspirants. If we think of IPL, ISL and Pro Kabaddi League, these all have offered opportunities to sports aspirants from very backward and remote areas. If we think of Olympic, this is true with these reference, that now we are having athletes from backward and remote areas. One of the example I want to put out, that is Hima Das. I think Vijendra Singh. So these are examples that they are being offered opportunities in the sports sector in spite they are from remote areas. Another beautiful example and interesting example that I want to share with you people, that is handful farmers in Delhi NCR region have turned their agricultural land into cricket grounds. See, this is I think 40 or more than 100 cricket grounds that have been converted from a farmland into cricket grounds, because Delhi is comparatively having less geographical area. So obviously people are not getting sufficient place to play. So these farmers are creating employment opportunities in a professional way. They have appointed professional umpires. They have appointed professional cook for that. It means sports industry is thinking about creating opportunities in a different way. This is the thinking of a farmer, and this whole video is available on YouTube. I think describing the efforts made by farmers in Delhi NCR region. So as far as employment opportunities are concerned, this is one of the beautiful examples that we can share regarding sports industry. Middle class families have or private poverty aspect. We can also take example of different sports stars or athlete celebrities that they are from backward or poor families or middle class families, and now they are stars. So sports have also contributed to get people out of poverty. We have certain examples: MS Dhoni, Mary Kom, Milkha Singh, Vijender Singh, even Pathan brothers of Gujarat, PT Usha, and list is, I think, endless. So these people have got employment opportunities. Now they are stars, and they are also running a sports academy and providing employment opportunities to other people. If we think of sports tourism, obviously domestic sports industry is providing employment to contribute towards the Indian economy. But if we think of sports tourism, there are two aspects. Active sports tourism. It means जो लोग बाहर से यहाँ पर आते हैं इंटरनेशनल इवेंट्स में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए, they are part of active sports tourism. If we think of passive sports tourism, जो लोग यहाँ पर मैच देखने के लिए आते हैं या लाइव इवेंट को देखने के लिए आते हैं, वो सब पैसिव स्पोर्ट्स टूरिज्म में आते हैं. तो ये एक अलग नजरिया है स्पोर्ट्स टूरिज्म का, जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज और इकोनॉमी को कंट्रीब्यूट करता है. If we think of employment generation in sports tourism, hotels and restaurants are getting their businesses due to sports tourism. Tour operators, they are getting tickets booked by these kinds of foreign tourists or foreign audiences. Media houses are having a large or huge businesses due to these kinds of international events like IPL and all these things. Aviation and other transportation mediums, इवेंट मैनेजमेंट कंपनीज वो भी हिस्सा ले रही है, तो उनको भी कुछ रेवेन्यू मिल रही है. Insurance companies are also getting insurance policies of these kinds of international events. Retail establishments, sports anchors, and journalists. This is one of the potential, or we can say, opportunities for young aspirants to go for sports anchoring and journalism and sports journalism. यहाँ पर हम एक बात नोटिस करना चाहेंगे और देखना चाहेंगे कि एग्जैक्ट इम्पैक्ट ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स टूरिज्म ओवर इकोनॉमी इज डिफिकल्ट टू क्वांटिफाई. इसके स्टैटिस्टिक्स शायद हम नहीं एग्जैक्ट मेजर कर पाते क्योंकि दे आर स्कैटर्ड इन नेचर. जो इम्पैक्ट होती है वो फैलती हुई होती है, होटल्स पे होती है, टूर ऑपरेटर्स पे होती है. तो हमारे पास एग्जैक्ट मेजरमेंट नहीं होता है कि टूरिज्म, स्पोर्ट्स टूरिज्म है वो इकोनॉमी में कितना कंट्रीब्यूट कर पाता है. If we think of international efforts for sports को encourage करने के लिए internationally क्या किया गया है? United Nations has used sports in development program in Millennium Goals that were decided in 2000. So sports development is one of the goals of United Nations that should be taken into notice to encourage sports at a world level. Even we can take example that General Assembly resolution proclaimed the year of 2005 as the International Year of Sports and Physical Education. इसका जो पर्पस था वो ये था कि यूएन मेंबर्स जो है वो अपनी स्ट्रेटेजी या अपनी पॉलिसी का हिस्सा मोटे तौर पर स्पोर्ट्स को बनाए ताकि स्पोर्ट्स को ग्लोबली हम डेवलप कर सके. सो यूनाइटेड नेशंस ने जो प्रयास किए हैं वो अभी तक ये है कि हम स्पोर्ट्स को एनकरेज कर सके और स्पोर्ट्स का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है वो हम बढ़ा सके. अभी हम गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के एफर्ट्स को देखें तो 1980 में नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स पॉलिसी वाज फ्रेम्ड. बेसिकली द पर्पस वाज टू क्रिएट स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स फॉर राइटफुल प्लेस इन इंटरनेशनल कंपटीशन. 1982 में मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ यूथ अफेयर्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स एस्टैब्लिश हुआ। 1984 में स्पोर्ट्स अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया का एस्टैब्लिशमेंट हुआ। At present, there are 52 national sport federations. They are getting funding from the government. Basically, the purpose is to improve sports and international competition. And yes, we are also having Indian Olympic Association since the year of 1927, basically contributing for organizing, preparing youth to participate in Olympic events. See, we can say that government is also spending more from as compared to past years. 2003-4 का हम जो एग्जांपल ले तो only 221 crores spent by government. अभी हम 2008-9 का देखें तो it raised to 347 crores. अगर 13-14 का देखें तो it reached to 810 crores. तो हम देख सकते हैं कि 3-4 का 221 की जगह 13-4 यानी 10 years में it is about 4 times. अगर हम 16-17 का देखें तो गवर्नमेंट का स्पेंडिंग अभी बढ़ गया है स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में, दैट इज अबाउट 1048 करोड़ एंड आई थिंक इन 1920 it is around 1500 crores. So government is also making efforts to encourage sports and its participation in economy. These are different challenges to develop sports tourism as far as Indian economy is concerned. One, that is lack of infrastructural facility. Infrastructure facilities as a general as well as infrastructure facility for sports. क्योंकि अभी जो ग्राउंड है हमने काफी सुना हुआ है कि बच्चे अभी खेलते नहीं है, तो बच्चे क्यों नहीं खेलते? अभी हम देख सकते हैं कि हम जब छोटे थे तो ऐसा होता था कि हमारे एरिया में कोई ग्राउंड हुआ करता था जहाँ पर जाके हम खेलते थे। मगर अभी हम देख सकते हैं कि बच्चों के पास हमारे आसपास कोई क्रिकेट ग्राउंड हो, ये बहुत कम देखने को मिलता है बिकॉज वी हैव क्रिएटेड सीमेंट हाई राइज बिल्डिंग, सो ऑब्वियसली दे आर नॉट हैविंग अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्ले. Second thing, last minute patching. This is the basically difficulties that sports management companies are facing because of lack of coordination and bureaucracy. That last minute patching are to be done by this event management company. Sometimes sponsors also hike ticket pricing for pretty profit. So profit कमाने के लिए ऐसा भी होता है और अंडर सेलिंग ऑफ टिकट्स इन इवेंट हो जाती है. वीजा अप्रूवल में भी दिक्कत होती है. Even foreigners are also facing security issues due to terrorism. And we need to make aggressive marketing strategies for developing sports tourism. These are various opportunities that we can find in the following years. I want to quote out two things. World Tourism Organization has claimed that India will be leader in South Asia with 8.9 million arrivals in India. Second thing, World Travel and Tourism Council, they have India is expected to be second most rapidly growing tourism economy in the world. So sports tourism का हम देखें तो opportunities हमारे पास काफी कुछ है, काफी ज्यादा है. First, that is increased media exposure to media houses. There are a lot of media houses as compared to past years, and they are telecasting these live events. Even appealing sporting event, creating 1,000 audiences to attend live events, especially IPL. IPL are having grounds full of audiences. Even we are having low-cost airlines and other transport facilities, and increased income of people that they are spending on live events. So, वो हम IPL में देख सकते हैं. Another thing, India has changed their impact or image as well as in the field of society as well as in economy. So more people are traveling to India as a country, and we can convert it into sports tourism. What we can do as far as towards sports and sports tourism destination to convert economy in the field of sports tourism destination. One thing, that is higher allocation of funds for sports from total budget. It means हम अगर ज्यादा हिस्सा स्पोर्ट्स में डालते हैं तो स्पोर्ट्स टूरिज्म को हम ज्यादा बेहतर बना सकते हैं. हम स्पोर्ट्स को एजुकेशन सिस्टम का इंटीग्रल पार्ट भी बना सकते हैं, जैसा हम डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में देख पा रहे हैं. थर्ड, इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज एंड पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ वेरियस स्टेट्स इन द फील्ड ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स। ये हम देख सकते हैं कि काफी कुछ बदलाव इस स्पोर्ट्स में आया है कि रिमोट एरियाज में से लोग अपॉर्चुनिटीज हासिल कर सकते हैं। हम MS धोनी का एग्जांपल भी यहाँ शेयर कर सकते हैं। Second, rapid infrastructure development, and state needs to make more investment in the development of infrastructure. We can take example of Motera Stadium, the restructuring of Motera Stadium in Ahmedabad. So obviously it is going to provide more live events in Ahmedabad and providing employment opportunities. Even we can go with PPP model, that is public-private partnership in international events. It means public means government is going to organize and making investment the event, and private organizations are going to manage these events. And last one, that is assuring full-time employment through sports. अभी क्या होता है कि हम किसी को बोलते हैं कि तू क्या कर रहा है, तो बोलता है क्रिकेट खेलता हूँ या एथलेट हूँ। तो कोई भी व्यक्ति सामने से पूछ रहा होता है, अच्छा और क्या कर रहा है? It means sport is not providing full-time employment opportunities to the sports aspirants. तो अगर हम उनको full time employment दे सकते हैं तो हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा यूथ को स्पोर्ट्स के साथ इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं। Thank you so much. So this is end from my side that I want to interact with you people as far as economy is concerned and sports is concerned. I want to thank Nisarg ji, Jetwa ji. I interacted with them in the past and they are very dedicated and contributing for this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, Hiran sir. Thank you very much. It is in quite enlightening insights of economical aspects of sports. It's quite inevitable looking at the IPL and Pro Kabaddi and all that. The growth of all this sports and events in India is likely pointing to a very big highlighted sector in coming future. Is what you said is, I think the total portion of a sports in current economy would be in a single figure currently, ranging from 1 to 9. But I don't think that it will much take a time to reach it to the 2 figure and reach it to the in 20s or 30s.
Yes.
I now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, who is entirely present during the session. And it is, something come a dream come true for the institution to have a leader who has spent not 1, 2, but decades with active sports and then now crafting an institution. So, sir, we like entire attendees and all would love to hear it that how economy will be driven through the sports. Rana, sir, please.
Namaskar. Nisarg bhai, I'm not visible on my screen.
Sir, you are audible, very easily audible, sir.
I'm visible as well?
Yeah, visible and audible. Superb.
That's great. Namaskar. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Hiren Rawal, who has given a very good suggestions, a very good lecture. He delivered a very good speech on the economy. We all know that economy is the backbone of any nation, any state, and any family. Without economical growth and without economy, we can't survive. As far as the sports is concerned, sports also needs a very good economy, which will be provided by the government, which is provided by government. As far as the economy is concerned, we can join hands with the PPP model as well. But one thing, to be very frank, I would like to suggest is that to all my participants, those who are coming from all the colleges and all, they can also suggest a few points given and few suggestions given by Dr. Hiren Rawal that on the PPP model, we can establish the good infrastructure with the help of our trust, college, means the Kelori Mandal or whatever the trust is there, the foundation is there, and we can join hands with government as well, so that we can develop a very good infrastructure in each and every school and each and every college. Because main thing is that we need a very good infrastructure at grassroots level. for each and every school and for each and every college. That's what I personally think. Then only you will get a very good athlete, a bunch of athletes or a bunch of sports person at your university level. And as far as the sports university is concerned, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Honorable Modi ji has a dream to start a sports university, the one-stop destination in Gujarat. At that time, he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat and he was the first Chief Minister to announce the sports university in Gujarat before 8 years. And I am very lucky to have the conversation with the Honorable Sir also in those days and nowadays as well. And our Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Vijay Rupani, has also made a big mission to establish the sports university with all the infrastructure, with all the scientific stuff inside it, along with the gymnasium, along with the sports hostel for the girls, sports hostel for the boys, along with the very good admin building like a stadium, along with the swimming pool of the Olympic class. And you know, the boys from all over Gujarat, they can come, they can have study, they can have various different courses. We have the 7 courses, and whenever the time permits, we will send you the brochures as well to all the participants and all. So, economy plays a major role in sports. We are agreed, Hiren bhai, and it was a very fruitful lecture given by you, delivered by you, and you are also a part of my team in my college as well. So really, I'm proud of you, brother. And again and again, whenever the lockdown is open, at that time we will invite you all, the lecturers or the faculties, Professor Moti Saab and all, to deliver the lecture, to guide our students, to guide our faculties, and to exchange. It will be exchange of program like that in an actual classroom. So we are looking forward for that. Thank you very much, Hiren bhai. And second thing I want to say, today is a World Athletics Day. I was a national athlete, I was a long distance runner. So that on this day, I would like to appeal to all my students, all my sports persons, all my family, all my friends, all my colleagues, all my faculty, and all my participants. I'm very lucky to have participants like you to join this FPP. So we can interact each other, we can have very good, better coordination in Gujarat, in India, and we can flourish more at the international level. So on this World Athletic Day and on this Buddha Purnima Day, I wish you all the best, very best. And कोरोना की इस महामारी के सामने हमको पेशेंस रखना बहुत जरूरी है, जो आज के दिन बुद्ध पूर्णिमा के अवसर पर हम लोग ये संकल्प करें, हम लोग पेशेंस रखें कि हम ये कोरोना की महामारी को जड़ से उखाड़ फेंके, कोरोना को हराए. We will do it, we can and we will win. हम लोग जरूर जीतेंगे क्योंकि हम लोग स्पोर्ट्समैन हैं, सभी लोग यहाँ पे स्पोर्ट्समैन हैं, सभी लोग स्पोर्ट्स के में कुछ ना कुछ एरिया से जुड़े हुए हैं. All the candidates also they are from the sports fraternity. So we all have the different sportsman spirit. और इसी sportsman spirit के साथ हम लोग everyday मास्क पहने, योगा करें, प्राणायाम करें, अपने हाथों को धो के सैनिटाइज करें और सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग का पालन करते हुए इसी तरह अपने ज्ञान का आदान प्रदान करें और इस कोरोना की महामारी और कोरोना जैसी ही दूसरी महामारी जो कि क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म है, आज इस मौके पर मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म को भी हम लोग मात दे. कैसे? ताकि हम लोग फिजिकली फिट बने, मेंटली स्ट्रांग बने और आतंकवाद जैसी जो इविल्स है उसको हम पूरे जड़ से सफाया करें और एक तंदुरुस्त राष्ट्र, एक फिट राष्ट्र, एक मेंटली स्ट्रांग राष्ट्र का, एक राष्ट्र का, श्रेष्ठ राष्ट्र का और एक हम लोग एक ही जबान में एक ही लैंग्वेज बोले, that is sports, sports and sports. We have to speak a common language, that is sports, sports and sports. We are a team. Our participation करने वाले जितने भी कैंडिडेट्स हैं, हमारे फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स, हमारे गोटी साहब हैं, हमारे टाडा साहब आए हुए हैं, हमारे रावल साहब है, मनीष रावल है, हमारे संजय जोशी साहब है, हमारे सीवी सोम साहब है, ईश्वर सिंह पटेल साहब है, भूपेंद्र सिंह चुड़ासमा साहब ने भी अभी हमने शुभेच्छा संदेश आप लोगों तक पहुंचाने के लिए दिया हुआ है। भारत सरकार की ओर से, गुजरात गवर्नमेंट की ओर से, फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम, स्वर्णिम गुजरात स्पोर्ट्स यूनिवर्सिटी की ओर से बुद्ध पूर्णिमा को अवसर पर आपको खूब खूब बधाई। आपको वर्ल्ड एथलेटिक डे के ऊपर ये फिट रहने का संकल्प और अपने परिवारों में, मित्रों में आप आगे बढ़ाएं। इसी के साथ आप सबको जय जय गरवी गुजरात, भारत माता की जय, वंदे मातरम।
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the inspiring words on this World Athletic Day. Let us take a pledge to be fit, to make state fit, to make nation fit. As what our Vice Chancellor sir says, that fit nation, hit nation. Along with that, we have a few questions from our participant side. So I request Hiren Rawal sir, if you could please stop this screen sharing, so that it would be very easy for all the panelists to be visible on the screen. First request. And second, we would be moving to our first question. Yes, the first question is, how India increase the sports economy?
I
Yes,
think
sir,
I am
you are on.
audible. I am audible.
Yes.
Okay, I have already taken this question that we can spend more on infrastructure development. Again, we can increase the sports budget. And third thing, that we can create awareness by establishing such efforts in the field of education part of education system, that youngsters can be part of sports. So we can grow more towards the development of sports economy. We have already
Second
taken
question.
this question, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I think it is regarding betting.
yeah,
Is it?
it is regarding the legalization of the batting. And does that legalization of batting help the Indian economy to grow in the means of taxes what government gets from that batting money? So how what would be your take on this?
As far as economy is concerned, I am not going to favor this one, because हमें सिर्फ इकोनॉमी के बारे में नहीं सोचना है, हमें सोसाइटी के बारे में भी सोचना है। अभी क्या है, कुछ लोग बेटिंग में जा रहे हैं और अपना पैसा भी वेस्ट कर रहे हैं और या गवा देते हैं, जो हार्ड अर्निंग है। सो इकोनॉमी के अदर सोर्सेज को देखा जा सकता है, नहीं कि हम बेटिंग को लीगलाइज करें। जो मैं सोचता हूँ, जो मेरा ओपिनियन है, वो यह है कि जो टैक्सीज है उसके दूसरे तरीके सोचे जाए, नहीं कि बेटिंग को लीगलाइज किया जाए। क्योंकि डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमीज, दे कैन अफोर्ड दिस, दे आर हैविंग हैंडसम सोर्स ऑफ रेवेन्यू, सो दे आर not going to have the problem of bread and butter. But if we think around us, then we can say that there are some people who are earning very less and they are spending in IPL, satas and all these kinds of things. So obviously the whole family is going to be ruined with this betting if it is legalized. So it is not to be supported in India to be legalized. As far as social concern is, social purpose is also concerned.
Second, it goes is that there are many places in the sports where corruption is very much integrated part of it, and the take would be the one who has asked is he says that he has worked in the places many where he has noticed that these kind of corruptions are taking place. So the first thing what comes into the mind is, do the person who are working in this sports industry, are they very less paid so that they find out other means to earn some more money? Is it something like that, sir?
What I think regarding corruption, that I think it should not be limited to sport. It is not limited to sports, in the field of sports only. Corruption is part of the whole economy and whole India. So it should be started with the education system. Actually, what we are doing at present, that values are not cultivated at the time of schooling. So obviously, when they are in businesses or when they are in their different fields, they are not going to listen anything about corruption, because what they all are doing is right in their field. So corruption, I think it is not limited to sports. So there is no question of corruption that how can we reduce or how can we uh, उसको कम कर सकते हैं और या बदल सकते हैं. जो सिनेरियो बदलना है करप्शन का, उसके लिए हमें लोगों को बदलना होगा, नहीं कि स्पोर्ट्स में ही है, स्पोर्ट्स में ही है. तो लोगों को बदलने से करप्शन, क्योंकि क्या है अभी ऐसा होता है कि मनी इज द ओनली मेजरमेंट ऑफ सक्सेस इन द फील्ड इन इंडिया. सो ऑब्वियसली आपको मनी चाहिए तो आप कुछ भी करने के लिए तैयार है, क्योंकि हर कोई व्यक्ति को सक्सेसफुल बनना है. अगर कोई भी आप किताब उठा ले कि सक्सेसफुल पर्सन, तो ऑब्वियसली ही इज वेरी रिच एंड दैट्स व्हाई ही हैज रिटन द बुक ऑफ सक्सेस. तो आपको बहुत कम बुक ऐसी मिलेगी कि जो सक्सेस के बारे में और वो आदमी रीच नहीं है.
So the main concern what the person has is that जहाँ पर स्पोर्ट्स पहुंचना चाहिए, जहाँ पर टैलेंट है, वहां पर नहीं पहुंच सकता, और करप्शन की वजह से लोअर टैलेंट के लोग आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. यस, आप बहुत सही थे सर कि अगर प्रॉपर वे में एजुकेशन दिया जाए तो इसको बचा सकते हैं. सर, 2 more quick question and then we'll move forward. Sir, it's from Akash Gohil, sports officer of GTU, that ગુજરાતમાં સ્પોર્ટ્સ ફેબ્રિક ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી તથા સ્પોર્ટ્સ ટેકનોલોજી ચાલુ થવાથી ફાયદો થાય ખરો ગુજરાતની ઇકોનોમીમાં? કેમ કે હાલના તબક્કે ગુજરાતને આ બધી વસ્તુઓ માટે અન્ય રાજ્ય પર નિર્ભર રહેવું પડે છે. તો શું આપણે સ્પોર્ટ્સ ફેબ્રિક ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી અને સ્પોર્ટ્સ ટેકનોલોજી આ બંનેનો વિકાસ ગુજરાતમાં કરીએ તો શું ગુજરાતની ઇકોનોમીને ફાયદો થઈ શકે?
આપણે જે એક્ઝામ્પલ શેર કરેલું છે, જે વિમ્બલ્ડનમાં જે નેપકિનનો યુઝ થાય છે એનું પ્રોડક્શન ગુજરાતમાં, એકચ્યુઅલી આઈ ડોન્ટ નો ધ એક્ઝેક્ટ લોકેશન, પણ વિમ્બલ્ડનમાં જે ટોવેલનો ઉપયોગ આપણે કરીએ છીએ એ ટોવેલનું પ્રોડક્શન છે ગુજરાતમાં થાય છે. ઓબ્વિયસલી પંજાબ છે, લુધિયાના છે, બેઝિકલી સ્પોર્ટ્સ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી, સ્પોર્ટ્સ ટી શર્ટ્સ ને જે કંઈ પણ બને છે, એ જે ટ્રેક્સ જે છે એ આઈ થિંક પંજાબની અંદર એનું પ્રોડક્શન વધારે છે. તો ફેબ્રિક ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી જે છે એ ગુજરાતની અંદર કમ્પેરેટિવલી વધારે સારી ડેવલપ થઈ શકે અને આપણે બીજા જે સ્ટેટ્સ છે એની પાસેથી શીખી શકીએ. તો સ્વાભાવિક છે, બેઝિકલી હું એવું માનું છું કે દે આર યુઝિંગ લેબર ઇન્ટેન્સિવ ટેકનોલોજી. So tailors can get more employment opportunities with the development of fabric industries in Gujarat. That's what I think, and we can learn from other states even.
Okay, the last one is if we wanted to measure the quantify, we want to quantify the measure of the economical impact of medium and large scale outdoor sports event, then what would be the best method? How we can quantify the economical impact of medium and large scale outdoor sports? This is a question by Dr. Nimesh Kumar Chaudhary.
Actually, there is no specific method to quantify that how sports economy is contributing towards the development of economy, because the contribution in a scattered manner. But if we think of Olympic event, for example, as we have proposed in the year of 2032, that Olympic is proposed by Indian government. Even आपने देखा होगा कि जापान ने कोरोना आते हुए भी लास्ट तक प्रयास किए कि ओलंपिक, जो टोक्यो ओलंपिक है, वो कैंसिल ना हो. उसका जो प्रयास था वो ये था कि इट इज गोइंग टू कंट्रीब्यूट मोर इन द इकोनॉमी ऑफ जापान. So these kinds of events are taking place, then we can have measurement that these hotel industries are getting this much of income, these major media houses are getting this much of revenue from these events, or etc etc. So अगर कोई इवेंट हो, इंटरनेशनल इवेंट होती है, तो उसको क्वांटिफाई करना पॉसिबल है. मगर हम डोमेस्टिक इवेंट्स के बारे में सोचे तो वो ज्यादा स्कैटर्ड मैनर में रहता है. तो उसको क्वांटिफाई करना काफी डिफिकल्ट होता है. हाँ, अगर इंटरनेशनल इवेंट, सिंगल इंटरनेशनल इवेंट, फॉर एग्जांपल कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स टुक प्लेस इन द ईयर ऑफ 2010, so we can get best quantify or quantitative measures or quantitative statistics that how Indian economy was getting benefit out of Commonwealth Games. तो अगर इंटरनेशनल सिंगल इंटरनेशनल इवेंट होती है तो उसको क्वांटिफाई कर सकते हैं कि दिस होटल इतनी होटल्स बुक हुई, इतना मीडिया हाउसेस को रेवेन्यू हुआ, ये हो सकता है। मगर डोमेस्टिकली हम सोचे तो स्पोर्ट्स का कंट्रीब्यूशन को क्वांटिफाई करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है।
So, few more questions has come, but as for the time constraint, I request the person who has put up the question. We will be forwarding this question to our expert, and I request the Dr. Hiren Rawal sir to please answer at the ease. On behalf of Swarnim Gujarat Sports University, entire team of this FDP and whole the participants, we really thankful to Hiren Rawal sir, who has seamlessly integrated the economy and sports. It is quite very well lucidly present that the sports would be the next driver of the economy if planning is done properly and execution is done wholeheartedly. We do respect the words called corruption. We do respect the terms called betting. We do respect the terms called doping. But with all odds, we need to fight, we need to analyze, and we need to go further. With this, I firstly end the first session. Thank you, Hiren Rawal sir. Thank you very much. To all the participants, we will be moving to our second session. I request our assistant professor, Ravindra Singh Rajpurohit sir, to please introduce the second speaker of the day, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma sir. Ravindra sir, please.
Thank you, Pathak sir. After a remarkable session which is taken by Rahul sir, now with the kind permission of our Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Arjun Rana sir, I would like to welcome our today's second session expert, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma sir, Associate Professor of Swarnim Gujarat Sports University, who do not require much introduction because he is self-made a well-renowned physical educationist who have contributed a lot and have a huge experience in the field of physical education. Sir, I welcome you in 7 days faculty development program, which is on role of allied science in the development of physical education profession. About Sharma sir present and published so many research papers at national and international level. He also published more than 25 books on various subjects. Sir also associated with so many renowned organizations and institutions as a resource person. Sir, it's our privilege to have you in today's expert session of faculty development program. Once again, I welcome you, sir. Now, I request you, sir, please take over the session and enlighten us on your topic, research methodology. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think I'm audible.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you are audible very much.
Today, as I have been given chance to speak on research, if the screen is visible, if my screen is visible,
Sir, your screen sharing is not visible currently.
is Mishra ji is there?
Yeah, Mishra sir is here, sir.
You please share the screen, as my computer it is hanged.
Sir, is it possible to share my screen?
Yes, very much possible, sir.
Can you please allow me?
Okay.
I have shared the matter with him.
Yeah.
Is it visible, sir?
It is visible, yes. The last slide, thank you slide is there.
This is last. You go through first,
Yes.
huh?
When think. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
No, up.
Okay. और Chinese.
Sir, is it
Next one,
visible?
huh? Yes. Use of appropriate statistical technique in research. That is my today's topic. Actually, why I have chosen such topic, there is a reason behind it. As we are dealing with research and teaching research into our students. So I found it that I must have a session on such type of topic. Mishra ji, kindly show the first screen. Huh? Second. Next. Huh? Next you take, please. When we talk of research, then a lot of researchers, they have said, as Robert R. Rusk, that research is an attitude of inquiry. Why? Because whatever we see, whatever we found outside in the society, we feel it, that why it is happening, why something is coming out. So that is the reason why research is very much necessary. Again, George J. Mulle, he said, research is a systematic and scholarly application of the scientific method. As everyone knows, whenever we are going to do any type of research, we need some system to be followed. How we are going to find out the exact results, what we want to have. That is, then Clifford Woody, he said that research is a careful inquiry, because whenever we are doing any type of work, nowadays you can see easily during this COVID period also, when scientists are unable to find out a vaccine for a virus, from last 6 to 7 months throughout the world, people are trying, because everyone is very much careful regarding their research. Any lacuna can make a lot of pupils die. That's why Clifford Woody has already told it, that research is a careful inquiry. One must do it very carefully, keeping in their mind and very smoothly. Then Crawford has said that systematic technique of obtaining a more adequate solution for a problem means we must use some system. So the system is, we must go stepwise. By following such steps, then only we can have a good research. Then PM Cook, he said that an honest, enthusiastic, intelligent searching for facts and their meanings or implications with reference to a given problem are there. Because when we are honest towards our research, then only we will be able to do something which will be good for ourselves and for the humanity. Kindly go to the next slide, Vishal. Vishal, go to the next slide. Next slide, please. No, not this. I'll come to the. Then we have why we are using statistical techniques to find out the results. Because we need something to be done into Show me, Nisargji. Now you can show my video. I will be unable to share the slides, but I can read it from my computer now. Why we are using statistical techniques? There is statistics is defined as the principles and procedures adopted in the collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of scientific research data. When we are collecting some data, that is a raw data with us. Now we are supposed to present that somewhere and analyze that. How we are going to analyze that? By doing some statistical procedures, by following them. Then how we are going to interpret that? That is more necessary to be said. Because we can have some data, we could have analyzes that, but how we are interpreting that, that is supposed to be seen. And statistical techniques and statistical studies, they are taking us to that place. Then statistics is a measure which describes the characteristics of an individual, means the group, the data we have collected, and objects of samples, the samples we have taken. In statistics, a single numerical score describes the characteristics of entire set of scores. For example, if you measure the height of a group, the average mean height is a statistic height which characterizes the entire group. We can see that full group, we can say what is the average score of that particular group. If we are seeing the Republic Day parade, when they are describing the height of the army personnel, they are saying all are 6 feet. Is it all are 6 feet? Yes, because average height is 6 feet. Then next slide is for appropriate statistical and analysis techniques for various research programs. What are that? Mishra, next slide. Single group. Single group, why this? We can make that how we are calculating the single group. That is measure of central tendencies, by which we can see median, mid, and mode. What are that? Measure of central tendency, measure of central tendency or average are important in the analysis of statistical data. They seek to determine some central values of series. They show the general trend and describe the salient features of distribution. It is that the average score is saying everything about the group. First, median is there. Median is always the middle score lying in the distribution. From lower to higher or higher to lower, we will arrange the score and see where the median mean that middle is lying. That is the median score. Then we comes to the mean. It is also called average. Average we are supposed to take if the number is below 30, then we can easily sum up the numbers and calculate it by the numbers we are having. Then mode. The mode score is the maximum score times a period score is called the mode. Why I am talking about this? There is a reason behind it. When we are doing basic research, when we have only a single group of students with us or single group of sample with us, we can do some sort of research work with them. We can measure their height, we can measure their weight, we can measure their BMI. And by doing that measuring, what we can do, we can easily do something like this, that we can have some sort of their expressions with us, and then we can easily go for arranging them. We have some data with us that we can see in our another slides as calculation of mean in Excel. Everyone is doing. We know it very well how to authenticate the data. Height of a particular group can be C, that is average. Then calculate the mean. Then we are going to see that into. Can we go to Zoom? इमीडिएटली दो, तो फिर कहाँ से जा रहे हो? As Mishra ji, go to the next slide or show the Excel sheet. Mishra ji, kindly show the Excel sheet. If we are seeing this, then calculation of mean in Excel, calculation of mean median mode using SPSS, then calculation of and analysis by using other methods, that is quartile division and percentile scale. That is all we can see. Then how to authenticate the results of a single group, that is the main thing. Because we have such type of data with us, but we are unable to see how we can prepare a research paper or how we can publish it or how from where we can go and say that my data is authentic. That is the main thing. Besides, if you are, it is possible, kindly share the Excel sheet. Excel, I'm saying. Excel sheet.
Sir, not possible, sir.
Oh, okay. Then you go to the next slide. Next to this. I'm trying to reconnect on that also, and I hope I will be able to reconnect.
Yes, sir. This is okay, sir. Slide.
That is okay. When we are having single group data with us, we can see that how that data we are going to authenticate. That is very much required. See how to use the results collected in a one single group. You are having the height of only your own students or your own group, which you want to analyze. You have already analyzed, which means you are having. Now you want to see that particular group is having height with it. Then how you are going to authenticate that? That is mainly required. You can authenticate that with so many other agencies. What are that agencies? If you will see Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, they are doing a lot of work on that. They are collecting data for the school students. Then if you will see that school system also, government school systems, they are also collecting such data. Universities also collecting such data. Then police tests are also there. If you are working in a university, you can see that 18 to 25 age group pupils are getting recruited into police. You can search out height from there, whether the growth of the students studying in your university, in your college are also good to get admitted into police or some such type of agencies. Then Women and Child Department is there, then National Health Mission is there, or any other project, sport report, and see the authenticity. You can authenticate your data with that. Mishra, next slide, please.
This one, sir?
Mishra, kindly see this. There is a score sheet on your screen. Kindly see how that has been converted into a questionnaire. This is a score sheet of Korfball. If you guys can see it, kindly see to it. And I'll tell you how I've made it a questionnaire. If you'll see, then I am trying to enlarge it, and there is a column added into the regular score sheet of Korfball Association of India, that was type of goal converted. See, I'm saying type of goal converted. That is how the person, how the athlete had shot the ball and the goal got converted. Mr. Ji, next slide, please. No, next. See, in this, while we are converting this score sheet into a questionnaire, then we have something. What is that? First, you are supposed to create a research question. How you can do some research and find out something. That is a study on patterns attributing to winning trends in korfball. Means shooting patterns, you know, how the students, they are converting their shots into goal. So, what is your variable now? Variable is shots in korfball. All that 8 or 9 types of shots which you are teaching to your athletes, they are your exact variable to which you are supposed to count. Then how you are supposed to modify that? Increase a column in the score sheet, which goal is scored using which shot. Which goal is scored by using which shot. I'm stressing on these words. Then collect the data. How many shots have been converted? How many shots have been converted by using particular shot? That is your data. Then convert the data into a tabular form. That can be a tabular form of your how scores have been converted, that is how many shots have been taken. Then convert the tabulated data in percentile scale. Then you can easily convert how many goals have been converted, that is 100%. And then out of that, how many shots are found converted into that data, that is percentage of scores you can take. Then now you can interpret it. How? Because when you are teaching to your students, 8 type of shots are there. But when you are going to play, at that time, athletes are only shooting only very few shots. In a study done by Clement Rajkumarji under B.S. Rathore Sahib in Jaipur University, it has been observed that in basketball, no one has done dunk shot. No one has done hook shot. Throughout India, no student of university, no senior national, no junior national, any player was able to convert a data into that goal, due to they are unable to execute such shots into goals because of either we are not teaching them or we are unable to taught them. In my view, this type of studies are supposed to be done by each and every physical educationist in its own research institution, because it shows how we are lacking in our practices. Because when we are not practicing such type of shots, how we will convert a goal? Mishra ji, go to the next slide.
This one?
Yes. No. I think you remain on the previous. After this one type of goals, then we can go for
Sir, is this good, sir?
it is. Now, as we are having such type of questionnaires with us, as we are, as we have such things with us, we can see that we can have a research paper based on this by using a single group only. When we are using some single group, we can have such type of research paper we can prepare, and by using only one single group, we can have a very good and very authentic research paper with us. That is, next slide is regarding t-test, and sir, go to the next slide. That is, if we are having two groups, that can be pre-test or post-test, that can be comparison among boys and girls, that can be a comparison between two districts, that can be comparison in two tribes, that can be comparison in two games. And that is that we are having two groups which we can easily compare. Now, kindly go to the next slide, Mishra. What is this two groups and how we can use that? That is t-test, commonly used t-test. The one sample t-test can be used for the same one sample we have taken prior, or the matched or correlated or paired or dependent or non-independent samples t-test can be used. The uncorrelated or independent or non-dependent samples t-test can also be used. Now go to the next slide. The one sample t-test can be used whenever sample means are tested to a non-test value. That is, for example, a physical educator selected 20 subjects at random and measured their body weight 60, 50, that is numbers we have given, and 56. He felt that the average weight of the subject must be 55 for the selected group. We wanted to test by applying t-test at 5% level of significance. We shall go to next slide. That is samples we have shown. I'm trying to show you the sheets that I have taken, and due to this lockdown period, some connection problem is there. And Mishra, you go to next slide. The matched or correlated or paired or dependent or non-independent samples t-test are there. Pre-post experimental design, two measurements taken from the same subject, normally one before the same subject, normally one the another one treatment, one measurement taken on a matched pair of subjects. That is, next slide please. The matched or correlated or physics evaluated the effect of weight training on pull-ups performance. He selected randomly 9 subjects and given training for 12 weeks. Subjects' pull-ups performance were assessed before and after training period. Sample test t-test was used to determine whether there is statistically significant difference between the pre and post pull-ups performance of the subjects. I think this is the scores they are given here, and we can see that how performance is seen before training and after training. This type of train we can take, and then we can go to some other that next slide please. In this, the uncorrelated or independent or non-dependent sample t-tests, we have such type of pairs with us in which we can see that these samples are non-dependent and are all independent samples. Then Mishra, go to the next slide. Then another common experimental design is the static group comparisons design. A study of this type often consists of measurement taken on two groups of subjects. The independent t-test procedures is used to test the hypothesis of no difference between the two groups on selected dependent variables. Next, please. A physical educator handling adult woman wishes to determine whether active adult women differ in percent body fat from sedentary women. He selected 10 active women and 10 sedentary women. Percent fat was measured by using skin folds and Saunware formula. Mishra, go to the next slide. Here the present percentage of body fat is shown. Sedentary women it is shown. Then active women it has been shown. And you can see how the data we have taken, and we can interpret it into from Excel sheet also we can do it, or using SPSS also we can do it. I think up to this it is okay. And if anyone wants to ask any question, we can ask any question. And Nisargji.
So, very enlightening research-related talk from our eminent Associate Professor, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma, sir. Sir, it's really good that to kickstart any research, the first thing is data collection, interpretation, then making the questionnaire, and then the first analysis of t-test which comes. It has been presented very thoroughly documented one with each step covered very well. We have a few questions from our participants. First, I request Om Prakash sir, if you could please, sir, stop screen sharing, sir. Yes, thank you very much. So the first one, it goes as, how many design makes in experimental research? Yes, we have our Vice Chancellor also is with us. So, sir, with your kind permission, we have moved to the question answer session. And the first question which comes is, how many design makes experimental research? Yes, sir, how many design?
Can I type this?
Sir, you can type it even, and if you could please answer it, then each attendee would able
we can have any type of experimental research with designs with us, because it depends what type of research we want to do. in experimental research also, and what type of athlete we are having, and what we are going to find out in it. What effects we need, that is supposed to be seen. Because whenever we are making any experimental research, that is based on something that we need to find out for our athlete, that how our training programs are helpful for that. So we can have 2 or 3 types of training program with us. So we can have 2 or 3 designs we can make for experimental research.
Fine. Then, yeah, Mishra sir, you can add it, please. Yes.
On the basis of statistical technique, we can divide research design into 2 parts. One is repeated measure design or within subject design, and one is between subject design, which is used in experimental study. Apart from this, we may also bifurcate the research design into several experimental design, which is true experimental design, pre-experimental design, and quasi-experimental design, which is based on random sampling. And there are number of research design. One sample design, pre-post randomized research design, quasi-experimental design, repeated measure design on the basis of collection of data. There are n number of design. This is depend upon how you are going to collect your data. Am I clear to?
Ji, sir.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Moving to the next point, that is, what is the difference between T ratio and F ratio?
T ratio is used for only 2 groups. But when we come to F ratio is used for more than 2 groups, and n number of groups can be used for when we are going to compare n number of groups. At that time, F ratio is required.
Yeah, sir, you can add it.
T ratio is the result of T test, and F ratio is the result of F test. Ratio is between within subject and between subject. Actually, all the statistical technique depend upon the error within the group and error between the groups. And this is the ratio between within the groups and between the groups, but depend upon the number of groups which is used in our research. T test is the result of T ratio is the result of T test. Similarly, F ratio is the result of F test. I hope I have cleared.
Yes. Now as the question, which is very fascinating to all, one and all, like, why do I get completely different results when I analyze my expression data using t-test and one-way ANOVA? Sir, yeah, you can, sir.
There is a relationship between the result of ANOVA F test and the result of T test. The under root of the F test, F ratio, is the T test. This is the relationship between F test and T test. You have to square the T ratio for getting F ratio. This is the relationship between T and F. Just because of T is used for measuring difference between 2 groups, depend upon the data measured, one sample between one group of data to the particular value, independent, where we have different groups, independent groups, and repeated measure or paired t-test, we have to use same group on different occasion. This is the basic difference between F-test and T-test.
We could move to the last question now. Good one. Sir, in the field of physical education, historical research are possible?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Yes, Sharma sir.
In the field of physical education also, historical research is permissible, and a lot of scope is there. If you will see that our own historical places near Kutch, Nolora, there is a stadium, and we can do research on that, how our ancestors used to do and give stress on physical education and sports activities, and by that how they are keeping themselves fit. And that is very much required also, because by then only we can come to know that all our ancestors, those who are living in these areas or anywhere in India, how they are keeping themselves fit and how much stress they used to keep on their body. Sorry, once.
Sir, Vice Chancellor, sir, I request you, please, sir.
I will take only 1 minute for Dr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma. Sir, it was a very good, fruitful session by you on the research method and experimental design. Very well answered by Dr. Sharma and very well answered by and given explanation by Dr. Om Prakash Mishra. So you all are research-oriented person, and it's a very good research team with our university. We all are proud of you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all the participants. Again, thank you very much to all.
Thank you all. We have few more questions. I request Sudhir Kumar Sharma sir and Dr. Om Prakash Mishra sir, if you could please answer them within the question answer session. The question, or if you could quickly run through the question. First is, if there is only one group, and can we apply t-test?
Yes, sir has already explained that there is a 3 type of t-test. The first one is one sample t-test, which is applied when we have only one group, and with this we must have one value. Suppose we want to compare the strike rate of all the Indian batsmen with the strike rate of Sachin Tendulkar. It is possible to compare on the basis of using one sample t-test. As sir told that if we have one group of data and we want to compare with the national survey of population, we may easily calculate from one sample t-test.
Thank you, sir. It was a question from Bhavesh Raba. A very small thing which has been put up by one of the participants is there any group or team who has been formed and working in the field of research in the physical education? If so, he wanted to contact that team. So on behalf of all the professors of SDSU, with a kind permission, I may ask the person who have asked this, Vishrut Bhai Parmar, you may please contact any of the faculty of Swarnim Gujarat Sports University, and each faculty would love to help you in your research. If you have anything, you are most welcome to come down to the university also. Each faculty would really appreciate and be loved to discuss your research problem and to move to your conclusion. So with this note, we come to the end of this day 3 of our faculty development program. I request all of you do join in tomorrow. The senior professor, Dr. J.L. Gothi sir, is going to take the session on anthropometry and body composition assessments. So this would be a very important session for all the physical education researchers who are working on anthropometry and body composition. I think tomorrow would be a more enriched session just like today. I thank all the experts. I thank Dr. Hiren Rawal sir. I thank Dr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma sir. I thank Dr. Jyotindra Jani sir, Dr. Manish Rawal sir, Mishra sir, to be specific, being so energetic and to the point answering the question related to statistic and the research to all the participants. Jetwa sir for coordinating well, Raj Purohit sir for introducing all the experts. I wish a very healthy day to Ankur Saini sir. He's recovering from throat and fever. Get well soon, sir. Thank you, Dr. Kunal Desai sir, for tuning in. Thanks all the participants. Thank you very much. With your remark, we have total participation of 87 today, which is quite well to have 87 number of persons from 100 get associated internetally. Thank you very much. I'm concluding today's session. Thank you.